So today on the ADA 60F, today we're going to focus on the filtration. So this is the ADA 300 Superjet that we're going to be putting on this tank, which some of you guys might have already knew that, but I had everything already prepared. So now that we're finally going to be hooking up the filter on this tank, because if you can follow along, this is all getting filled the same day. So I just planted it, we hooked up the CO2, now I'm hooking up the filtration. So that's what this video is about today. So like I said, ADA Superjet 300 that we're going to be running on this tank. Got everything in front of me. I'm going to show you guys what I'm putting in it, all the way to hooking up the hoses to lily pipes. I'll show you what lily pipes I'm using, and then hopefully I'll fill this up in the same video and actually show you guys it running. So let's get into what I'm going to be putting in this thing. So first, bottom layer, I have a bunch of extra Awaza sponges because I take them all out of my canisters, and I basically cut a circle. So this is pretty thickish sponge, but I basically cut it to the same diameter as Superjet. That'll go on the very bottom. That's all. The only reason I'm using this is it will act as a biomedia, because obviously it's not going to get clogged very easily, and it can grow a little bit of bacteria, and it keeps the biomedia clean before it even hits. So I'd rather this be first and then the biomedia. So really, I probably shouldn't even put this in, but it's there. So and I have it, so might as well. So that's what's going to go first. So we'll take our O-ring off first. So I'll shove that down there so that perfectly fits all the way at the bottom. And then our next, obviously our main thing, is our big bag of biomedia. So this is ADA BioRio. So this is just what comes with the filter. It actually doesn't come with the smaller filters. You start getting BioRio when you buy the 600 and up. For some reason they only include the square sponges and carbon with the smaller ones, which I don't know why. The square sponges are supposed to be like the biological filtration for the smaller ones, but I don't really see the benefit in those, to be honest. So I just bought BioRio. It's one of the better it's actually probably the best biomedia out there on the market. That and Matrix. Matrix is the only reason I'd ever put Matrix higher is because you can pretty much put Matrix in any filter and it will not clog. This stuff, you put it in other filters and it will clog pretty easily because it is really small. So you can only, BioRio is really good, and it's, like I said, probably one of the best, but only when you can put it in a Superjet. Any other filter, it is going to clog like crazy. So yeah, so I'm going to use that and the Superjet. And who knows, I might actually take out the sponge because I still got to put Purgen and stuff, so we'll see. So we'll get that. And then let's see here. So I think, yeah, next will be, this is just a little piece of pinky filter I cut a square out. Eventually I'll buy a thing of filter floss. I just have so many, I have like 100 feet with the pinky filter. I got to use it first. But basically this is all it is filter floss. Filter floss at the bottom, then a fine filter pad at the top. So it works the same. So we'll put that on top, and then I got a little bag of Purgen. That little treats about 100 gallons, but with all the wood in here, we're definitely going to need it. So I have to still rinse this off, so I'm not going to put it in there. But basically that will go on top, and then I'll see the mesh thing that will squash it down all in the end, and that's pretty much it. So that's what's in it. So pretty simple. So biggest thing probably to take away from that was just fill your canisters with like 95% biomedia. That's all you ever need. I think people overcomplicate that a lot. Just 95% bio, and then a little bit of filter floss at the top, and then maybe Purgen depending on your setup. So that's all it ever needs, and your filter and your tank will look amazing. So after that, I'll put this all back together, and I'll show you guys putting on the pipes next. So the lily pipes that we'll be using is pretty much the smallest ones ADA makes. So we'll be using the V1 input right here. So obviously my shallow tank's not that tall, so this is just the shorter version of that. And then for the output, we're using the straight pipe, real tiny lily pipe, but super cool. It's basically smaller, so it can put out more pressure, and obviously being a straight pipe and being a shallow tank with it being a little bit longer, 2 feet, this works out super nice. So that's what I'm going to use here. So basically the first step is to so I got the bigger hose for the inlet. So with the ADA jets, what you want to do, except it doesn't have no priming feature, which is the only downfall of ADA jet filters, but for everything that else they do, it's pretty worth it. So not a big deal for me. But so the first thing we want to do is connect our input hose on, and basically run the hose into the canister. And what we're going to do is, once we get the tank all filled up, we're going to suck the end of the tube on the input and basically bring water into the canister. and that will basically start creating a siphon. So when you plug it in, that water will go shooting out. So I'll get the tubing on and I'll come back to you guys when I do that. So this part's pretty self-explanatory. Obviously I got the hoses hooked up to the lily pipes. Now the big, like I was saying, the big thing is to first hook up your inlet, and then when you hook up your tubing for your output, don't put on the lily pipe yet. Suck on the end and create a siphon first, and then plug the canister in and then hook up your lily pipe. And that's so water can start going through it, and then it'll start working, because if you don't do that, then it's just going to keep running dry and try to suck water, and it can't. But yeah, so I plugged it in and got it running. So if you have any other questions, because I know I skipped probably quite a bit not showing you guys that part, but you guys can comment down below. But yeah, I got plugged in. This thing's with that straight pipe, this has a ton of flow. You can already see it's pushing all the sand out of that corner. So I'm gonna have to do something about that. I don't know what yet, unless I change the lily pipes to just a regular lily pipe. You know, I'll have to see. But yeah, that's quite a bit of flow, and I probably have to do something about that, because I love the straight pipe, but that's just way too much flow. Unless I can somehow, like, over time the canister will clog and slow down anyway, but right now that's a lot of flow. It's just blowing around everything. So we'll just see. Hopefully I'll probably have to put something in front of it for now, just to kind of disperse the flow so it's not pushing around the sand and making a big mess. But yeah, that's basically a setup for the ADA Superjet for our 60F. So if you have any questions, you can comment down below or follow my Instagram at JJ Aquariums. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'll hook up the CO2 and get this tank running and start showing you guys updates starting next week.